3 million Canadians are currently on GLP-1 medications, whether it's Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. Whatever they're taking, most of them got a prescription, a starting dose, and very little else. Nobody told them what happens to their muscle, nobody told them how much protein they actually need, and nobody told them why exercise should be something they should be doing. That's what this video is all about, is what you should be doing or thinking about with these medications. If you're on a GLP-1 drug, or you're seriously considering one, this is for you. And if you're a trainer or coach with clients in these medications, watch this twice. Because the gap between what people are being told and what the research actually says is significant. So some quick context, GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. Your body actually produces this naturally after you eat. These medications mimic that signal at a much higher level. So the result is that you feel full faster, you eat less, and the scale goes down, which is what everyone wants. That's part of how it works. But the problem is what else goes down with it. Here's a number that should be in every GLP-1 prescription conversation, but isn't. Up to 40% of the weight you lose on these medications can come from lean muscle, not fat. So if you lose 30 pounds on Ozempic, you may have lost 12 pounds of muscle, and it's not great, it's not a win. That's a metabolic problem that will follow you for years. So why does this matter? Well, there's 3 reasons. First, we just touched on, which is muscle is your metabolic engine. The more you have, the more calories your body needs to burn at rest. You lose muscle and your metabolism slows down, and the weight can come back faster than when you started the drug. Secondly, muscle is what keeps you physically capable as you age, so losing it in your 40s and 50s has consequences that go way beyond the scale. And third, the people who maintain the results after stopping GLP-1 medications are the ones who protected their muscle while they were on them, and then the others regained. And the data on this is pretty consistent. So the fix is resistance training, not cardio, not walking, lifting weights. And I want to be specific about this because people on GLP-1 medications get told to stay active or go for walks. And that's not wrong, but it's not the answer. Cardio keeps you healthy, but resistance training signals to your body to hold on to that muscle while it's in a caloric deficit. That signal is what's missing with most GLP-1 users. And that signal is a lot stronger than just getting enough protein. Here's what the research supports. 3 weight training sessions per week hitting every major muscle group. So compound movements like squats, deadlifts, rows, and presses. And they can be in any of those variations that you feel comfortable doing. You don't have to do a barbell deadlift. You can do a dumbbell deadlift. These are the exercises that recruit the most muscle tissue and send the strongest signal to preserve lean mass. And intensity matters. You can't go through the motions and do easy weight. The muscle needs to be challenged. It doesn't mean you have to be a powerlifter or push yourself to failure, but you do need to challenge that muscle more and more over time. So more weight, more reps, and more challenge. That's the stimulus that your body needs to promote that muscle retention. The second piece is protein, and not as important as resistant training, but it is important. And this is where GLP-1 medications create a hidden problem. These drugs suppress your appetite significantly. That's the whole point. But when you're eating a lot less, most people don't maintain their protein intake. They eat less of everything. And the research shows that more than 90% of GLP-1 users aren't hitting adequate protein targets. That matters because protein is the raw material your body uses to maintain the muscle. So what's the target? The evidence points to about 1.6 to 1.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. To put that in plain numbers, if you weigh 170 pounds, that's roughly 125 to 140 grams of protein per day. On a suppressed appetite, that doesn't happen automatically. You have to be strategic about it. That means prioritizing protein every meal, choosing high protein foods first, and in some cases, using a protein supplement to close the gap. That's where liquid nutrition can be easier than, say, solid nutrition, just because it doesn't make you feel as full and it digests a little bit faster. Practically the best protein sources on a suppressed appetite are the ones that are easy to eat, not heavy. Things like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, of course, eggs, chicken breasts, and fish. These are high in protein, relatively low volume. A protein shake is useful here as well, but not as your main strategy, but as a bridge, especially on days when solid food is just not happening or is not appealing. So you want to spread the protein out across 3 meals if you can, and aiming for about 30 to 40 grams each. You don't skip the eating meal thinking you're being disciplined. Muscle protein synthesis needs consistent stimulus throughout the day. One more thing that most people aren't talking about is micronutrient deficiencies. A 2025 study in Frontiers in Nutrition found that over 98% of GLP-1 users weren't hitting their targets for key micronutrients. Vitamin D, potassium, and choline showed up most consistently. When you're eating significantly less food, you're getting significantly fewer vitamins and minerals. That should kind of make sense. Quality multivitamin is a reasonable insurance policy, and a blood panel with your doctor once a year is worth doing. I'm not going to go into a deep dive about supplementation here, but if you're on one of these medications and you're not thinking about micronutrients, it's worth having a conversation with your doctor or your dietitian. I want to give some Canadian context here because it's relevant. Right now, roughly 3 million Canadians are on GLP-1 medications, like I mentioned. And that number is going to increase significantly. Health Canada is currently reviewing semaglutide, the drug in Ozempic, in Wegovy. And when generics hit the market soon, because they're going to, due to a patent issue that happened about a year ago, they're going to be a lower price point, and that's going to expand access. What that means is this isn't a niche conversation anymore. This is going to be the most common medication your neighbor, your coworker, or your training clients are on if you're a personal trainer or a coach here. Let me bring this all together. GLP-1 medications work. The appetite suppression is real and the weight loss data is strong. But medication only does part of the job. Part you're responsible for is resistance training 3 times a week, hitting your protein targets every day, and keeping an eye on your micronutrient intake. If you do those 3 things alongside the medication, you protect the muscle, you support metabolism, and you build a foundation that actually holds when the medication ends. And if you don't, you lose weight in the short term and then end up in a worse position metabolically than you started. One thing to note as well, though, is that GLP-1 medication doesn't work for everyone. There are some people who have some pretty aggressive side effects like nausea, vomiting, and that doesn't go away from them. Even despite changing concentrations of the drug over time, they still don't get relief of those side effects. So just know that it's not a medication that by default works for everyone. If you're watching this and realizing you need to understand the nutrition side more, the biology of why fat loss works, why hunger isn't a willpower issue, and how to build a system that holds up, I built a free course for exactly that. It's called Fat Loss Fundamentals. There's 4 video modules. It's completely free. I put the link in the description. That's your next step to learn a little bit more and finally lose fat sustainably and permanently. Looking forward to seeing you in the course.